and welcome to the JTG podcast. I am your host, Thomas Lockyer, being joined by Gabriel Bittley.
Hello.
And Jake Harrison.
Hello.
The podcast today is on climate anxiety. And to start things off, we've got a couple of news articles, which we're going to be, someone's going to be reading out, and Jake and Gabriel are going to be giving their reactions to it.
Yep.
The first one is quite grim. It's on Sky News, and in the 2022 heatwave we had in the UK, where temperatures reached 40 degrees Celsius in some parts.
Awful.
There were
Yeah,
excess
terrible.
deaths for over 65s, and the latest figures, the 5 heat periods of this year's extraordinary hot summer, the estimated total excess deaths, excluding those from COVID-19, reached 2.8 thousand.
Well,
Wow, that is quite a lot.
but the temperature, that was awful. You couldn't even do anything.
Yeah, it literally, because the UK suffers, doesn't it? Because it doesn't have air conditioning. Well, not everywhere has air conditioning.
Yeah, because
Well,
it's
I
not
mean,
really needed
exactly.
most of the times.
Yeah, because our houses are built to keep the heat in. I mean, there's rare cases like this studio which has aircon, or supermarkets which might, but like
At home, I don't have aircon.
exactly nobody at home. Nobody at home has aircon. You know, a lot of schools. Whitstone School doesn't have aircon. It did in the computer rooms, but that was it.
Was it only in one computer room, M1, that had it?
It was most computer rooms. They had it in the library as well. I know.
Did they?
Yeah, because remember the computers used to be in the library
Oh yeah, I know.
before they
I
moved
know.
it. So there was aircon in there.
Well,
But do you think it's linked to climate change? The hottest temperature on record.
it keeps rising, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's on record, so.
Oh yeah, but how long has it been recorded?
Yeah,
for?
exactly. It's only been recorded for the last 100 years, so we don't know. But that's one argument. The other argument is that, well, it is the hottest it's ever been, so technically it is the hottest in like 100 years, so it could be linked to climate change. You just don't know. Thomas, what do you think?
I've just read another thing, about 16,000 more deaths from June to August than you might expect, than there are more deaths in England and Wales this summer than there were previous, so it's definitely getting out of hand. I mean, the odd one every now and then, that's alright.
And is that due to like heat stroke or other heat-related illnesses?
I don't... It doesn't say what the deaths were.
Well, you can't really link that to climate change.
Yeah.
If it doesn't say what it's from.
Could be, because I mean, because if we could get,
yeah,
if we had
the-
some figures on heat stroke deaths, then it might be a lot higher.
Yeah.
Because then that could be caused by the
Climate
hottest
change
temperature.
and global warming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you
even then,
can't
though,
really-
the 16,000 more deaths in England and Wales from June to August in the summer period, when it was staying quite warm, then the 3,000 extra deaths on hottest days. I mean, that is alarming.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I just hope... I couldn't see anything for previous years. I didn't have a look, probably should have. But I bet this is definitely going to be getting worse, especially when 40 degrees Celsius, and also on BBC Weather or BBC News, can't remember which one, they said we shouldn't be seeing that here in the UK.
It is what it is. Well, that's it. It can be solved. It can be solved if we work together. If the government does some things as well. Looking at you, Liz Truss.
Government, if you're listening to this, get your ass in gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Liz Truss, if you're listening to this, resign.
Come on, Liz.
Yeah. Don't U-turn on climate change. You've already U-turned once.
Well,
Yeah.
let's see what other people have to say about climate anxiety.
Should we get some vox pops up?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
do it.
Okay, let's hear some. This is 3 different interviews of Strode College students reacting to climate anxiety. So, does it make them scared? What do you think of climate anxiety?
What is that?
It's like where you're stressed out from climate change.
I'm not stressed.
But does it worry you?
No.
Okay, thank you. What do you think about climate anxiety?
What's that?
It's like anxiety about climate change.
It doesn't worry me actually.
Okay. What would you do if you were worried about it?
Like what do you mean?
Like, how would you cope with it?
Just kind of ignore it. Like it's not going to affect me in my lifetime.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. What do you think about climate anxiety?
What is it?
It's like where you get worried about climate change and the future.
Well, climate change is obviously very bad.
So, but do you worry about it on the daily?
Not really.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
So what can we gather from this? Most people don't even know what climate anxiety is.
That is, yeah. They don't think about it too much. And the other thing is, It's an issue that affects young people because obviously loads and loads of young people sort of protest against climate change and stuff, and they're aware of it. But like we just heard there, that, like quite a few of my friends, genuinely nice people, you know, but like they said, they don't care because they don't think it's going to affect them in their lifetime. And going back to what our media teacher said, remember he said that all of his teachers said that the UK would be underwater by 2020, and look, we're sat in this room now in 2020. So 2022 actually, yeah. Sorry,
2022.
Yeah. So, and again, yeah, people, they just don't seem to feel like it, you know, it doesn't worry them a lot, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't really worry me, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think about it on the daily. Obviously,
No,
I think about it quite often, but yeah, I don't stay awake at night going, oh, I hope that, you know, we don't flood, or I hope that it doesn't get too hot. Obviously, I think it's a good issue, but like,
I know
an
it's
issue that
not
people-
good.
Yeah, you know, it's not good, and you know, I want to help solve it, and you know, I support all of these groups like Extinction Rebellion, but like, yeah, it doesn't keep me awake at night. I don't get anxiety from it.
Yeah.
No, so in that case, and there's not really much else. I mean, if they don't feel anxious about it, then well, I understand. But I know there's some people which do. So obviously, if you don't feel them, you've got to try. Try understand why, understand how to help.
Yeah, I think climate anxiety is less talked about than climate change itself, and I think it shouldn't be. But again, for me, it doesn't really give me any anxiety. But like, I think it can. I think it's pretty similar to other anxieties and phobias of things. You know, I think it could be an issue, and maybe you could get medication for just general anxiety for it. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, I think that's what I think.
What medication do you have for anxiety?
I don't know.
I don't know, to be honest. There's so many different things now.
Are there any?
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not that well educated on it, so you know, don't exactly listen to me here. But like, I have witnessed ADHD medicine working very well, and that genuinely does work.
You
But
know
that's it.
people with ADHD?
Yeah, my cousin has ADHD, and I was staying with her one time, and she was full of so much energy, and she did take one tablet of an ADHD medicine, and she did calm right down in like 20 minutes, and that was amazing to see.
Oh
actually.
wow!
So maybe if there's something for that, you know, something that they could buy, unless you don't want to medicate. But there's other ways of solving it without medication, of course. There's meditation. There's many ways.
Just opening up about it, about your worries, getting
Yeah,
off your
exactly.
chest.
That's it. That's a big for other anxieties that I have. Yeah, talking to people, because if I can relate to it, then that makes me feel a lot better. Because
Yeah.
it feels like I'm not the only person struggling. So if you have that, then you could open up.
As my thoughts, it is definitely worrying. I mean, I don't suffer from climate anxiety, and I'm not really too bothered about it. But there's one thought which I cannot get out of my head. I was watching this video of Professor Brian Cox chatting to a couple of guys on. I can't remember what it was. It's on YouTube.
It was like a TED Talk similar thing, wasn't it?
It wasn't a TED Talk, but it was just like on this morning chat show.
Yes, yeah, because I remember we watched that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a debate with.
It
What was his name?
It was
What
the
was
debate.
his
Yeah,
name?
Brian Cox is the scientist, right? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
I know him.
Yeah,
I know
it
him.
wasn't
Who was the other guy?
it wasn't with Malcolm Roberts. That's a different one entirely. What I'm thinking of is when he was just chatting to it was on one morning chat show, and he was just talking about the climate, talking about the politics of all it, which we're not going to get into. This will be here for hours.
But yeah, there was that
we can
crazy guy who
we can lightly
denied
touch on
it.
it. But
Yeah.
he said that Earth is just one planet, so orbiting the sun, which is just one star in the galaxy among 200 billion of stars, and our galaxy is just one of countless billions, maybe even trillions. That's just in the observable universe, and yet we haven't had contact with any other life.
It's crazy.
So that means Earth is pretty much a mote of dust considered in the grand scheme of the universe.
Technically, but Earth is a rare sort of
rare
body, isn't
planet.
it? It's extremely rare. Although
Exactly.
NASA have found evidence of that other planets have similar to Earth's atmosphere have existed, and there's so many conspiracies and beliefs that UFOs do exist, and that's why our technology advances, because like the government gets alien technology you know, they might get to advance it.
I don't think that's the case, but I think aliens.
I don't
aliens do
believe
exist.
that. I don't believe. I believe that something out there in the massive
there is.
mecca of the universe, something must exist.
Yeah, there is. But the fact we haven't had any direct contact yet just makes you can't help but thinking. We see all these strange things like the Tic Tac video that came up by the US government. Then you've got like Curse of Skinwalker Ranch, which is a great show.
There's also the have you heard of the wow message that we've received through radio waves?
Yeah, I did. That's one spike. It's never been heard of again.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
That's on Big Air. So.
I think that must be a sign.
Could be, yeah.
But we haven't heard it since. So what happened to them? Did they go extinct, or was it just a blip?
Oh, maybe
maybe they
too
haven't
far away.
Yeah, yeah.
It takes long.
Maybe.
Or maybe they haven't visited us yet because the Big Bang happened at the same exact time.
It did, and also the distance and everything. It just. Everything takes.
What I
time
was
to
saying
get
was
there.
it happened at the exact same time, which means other lives would have had the same amount of time to develop as we did. So they also haven't developed rockets yet, like because we haven't invented rockets that can reach Mars yet, which isn't even technically that far considering the whole universe. So other beings wouldn't have. Well, they may have, but they chose not to visit us.
Probably, but you can't help just feeling isolated. Like we're the only place we know of where life exists.
It does. Have you seen that really famous NASA photo? We'll get a picture on screen.
Oh, was
here.
it the Pale
It was
Blue Dot?
one. It looked like 4 stripes of brown, and on it is just an ever so slightly speck, and
of
that's
blue.
Earth.
That's
I
that's
saw
Earth.
that.
And
that's our home.
That made me feel so insignificant. It did. It really did. It's just such an incredible picture.
Well, we've got something significant. A camera problem. Thomas's camera turned off.
Oh, for God's sake.
no.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Somerset Production. What
Why for me?
climate-saving technology looks the most promising?
That's difficult. There are a lot of them. We got electric cars, which are becoming way more popular now.
And with solar panels, have you seen the amount of solar panels people?
Oh yeah, that's really good. Like we don't need to burn fossil fuels to get energy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the cost of all these things are going down rapidly now, aren't they? I mean, Whitstone got solar panels. Stroder's got some on a couple of the buildings. Not all of them, not this one.
Yeah, they're getting more common now.
Yeah.
Well,
And
are they helping so far?
I think so. They do produce a surprising amount of energy. They do. They really do. And electric cars are still... They are much cheaper, but they are still quite expensive. I mean, I've got figures of Tesla Model 3s, and they're like, I believe, £37,000 for a
I
base
think
model.
electric cars are more expensive than conventional cars.
Yeah. And at the moment, they still don't go quite as far as... Like, the best-selling car in Europe is a Volkswagen Golf, and that can go 1,000 miles on a tank of petrol, whereas, whereas the Tesla... which is quite a long way. Whereas the Tesla Model 3 can go only 215 miles, I think. That's the cheapest one they sell. But that's just a Tesla, to be fair. There's
there are way
there's
more
so
electric
many
cars.
electric cars, yeah.
But Tesla is the most popular one.
Yeah.
And considered the best electric car.
The next most popular one, I think, is called the Renault Zoe, which is...
I never heard of that one.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I haven't.
I haven't heard of it, but it is a best-selling car in Europe as a whole, so maybe not specifically in the UK. But, yeah. And I've got the facts here. Look, a base model Tesla Model 3 costs £48,000 and only drives 305 miles, whereas the best-selling petrol car in Europe starts at just £32,000.
Ooh, well,
But that's not even the cheapest car. The cheapest, I don't know what is the cheapest electric car. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I can't remember.
I can Google it.
They have to be. Yeah, go on then.
Let me pull up our old friend Google.
I
Let
think it
them join
might
the
be
podcast. Welcome, Google.
8,000 or 9,000.
Maybe that still seems quite cheap.
I just put Google into Google. Not sure why.
Electric cars though are much cheaper to charge though. It costs £12 to charge a Tesla.
But it
Model.
takes way more.
takes
It does.
longer.
It does take longer, but you are paying less, especially now with the cost of living crisis in the UK, where petrol's gone through the roof, and so is electricity, of course, but just not as much.
But what are you gonna do with the space? Because if someone has to stay like 1 hour to charge, then how is someone else gonna come in and charge?
Well, maybe that's why they line them up, don't they?
Like with petrol, you have like one gas station. You stay there for like a minute or two, you leave, and next person comes in.
Maybe it's ideal for like service stations. You know, service stations have enormous car parks where people generally go anyway to stop for lunch and things. I think if you lined up loads of electric car chargers, that would work out. Like I've been on service stations.
But where are you gonna get that energy from to put into the cars?
Well, that's it. We've already got like an energy short. Well, not really an energy shortage, but we're pretty close to the limit now of energy. But One thing the government's done really well that they haven't talked about is they built one of the Europe's largest wind farm, Europe's largest offshore wind farm in the whole of Europe, and that and just wind power alone produced half of the UK's energy.
Oh wow!
During Storm Eunice, so that was during a storm. But that's still very impressive.
Yeah, it is.
And that was just wind power, and that's not even including solar or nuclear, which are both greener energies than coal.
I found a electric car, just a very quick Google, for 20,000.
20,000? That's not
kind
bad.
of-
What website's that on?
Hey Car.
Hey Car. I don't know if I've heard
I
of
don't
that.
know, but
No, that's just someone reviewing it. That was year launched 2021, so the price has come down a bit. So when was the Tesla Model 3 made?
2017.
I think it launched in 2017. It launched.
so
it launched
it's
much
only a few
earlier in
years
the
to come
US.
down.
It took a few years for them to bring it out into the UK.
or Europe. Yeah.
Okay.
Electric cars are faster, actually, aren't they? So
Oh yeah, the instant.
Depends on
instant
what car
torque.
you
yeah,
have.
the instant torque. Sorry, what?
Depends on what car you have.
It does depend on what car you have, but generally they are a bit faster. They're faster off the line. They're not,
Yeah, and acceleration.
yeah,
Yeah.
because they've got the torque, haven't they? So, a Tesla Model 3, which is, as I keep referring to the Tesla because it is so good, but a Tesla Model 3, which isn't supposed to be a sporty car, has 0 to 60 in 5 seconds,
Oh,
which is
wow.
really, it's really quick. But to be fair, I can't remember if I have for that Volkswagen the
But on
best-selling
most
car.
roads, you wouldn't need that speed.
No, obviously, but like it's still impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing about back to the where you find small the gas station. You know what we're saying about the fuel stations.
Yeah.
Just saying why can't you just line them up, and then obviously the where the electricity comes from. I can think of another issue. And I was watching one about a program, a documentary about should you get an electric car, and this guy was just going on a road trip, and he pulled up to one station to recharge. He'd have to download an app onto his phone. That's assuming you have a smartphone.
Yeah.
Then you need to sign in.
And you need internet as well.
Internet, pay for it as well. Then you can plug in, charge. You know, when it moved on, then when you needed refueling again, went into another one, has to download a different app, give over the same details, pay it in, and then that charging point didn't work for his car, so he just lost however much money it was. So you have to put it on, find another one, download a different app, and you can start seeing pattern. Someone is going to start all went out. Electric cars are good, like the battery chargings, but it's just very easy to make a business out of it.
It is, and it's a bit more of a hassle, isn't it, using a smartphone app? And I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it is easy business because you just let the customers sit there.
Yeah,
But-
let customers sit there. You have to download your own app, which goes to your thing. You're providing it.
Yeah.
So you're having the money, but then there's no guarantee that your thing will work with their car, like this Paul Sword had.
Yeah, and also you talk about the batteries.
Mm.
So electric cars usually last less time than conventional cars.
They do, but they are speeding up. This is why Tesla is so good. There's no, because you know what a Tesla supercharger looks
Yeah.
like, you know, big red thing, no screens or anything, because it knows inside the car which one you're using. So you just get there and you do just plug it in.
Yeah, but what
which
if you
is
don't
easy.
have a Tesla?
Well, that's it. You can still use the superchargers because there's so many different companies that make adapters that fit over it, and even Tesla make adapters so that Tesla owners don't have to use Tesla superchargers, you know, if they're in a rural area. But and going back to the whole speed of charging thing, in America they have started releasing new ones called I think they are just called superchargers. They're called like new superchargers or something. Not a very creative name, but they charge in 15 minutes, which is really it's much
good.
faster than before. So I don't think it'll take long to catch on. I really don't, because there's electric car chargers in almost every town now.
Okay, but what do you do with the battery after? So your car breaks down, your electric car. What do you do with the battery? Because you can't like do anything with it after that.
If the battery goes, that's just disposable, and also you got the lead or whatever is in there. That can be quite toxic.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. So there's the whole issue of how much carbon it takes to make an electric car. But it does pay back, because obviously you're not going to be releasing any emissions of any kind.
That's true.
Whereas a car would release carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and
Sulfur.
sulfur, and all these different things. But yeah, it's all about lithium now, because lithium-ion batteries will be in high demand.
And now we have limited supply of lithium. So
Yeah,
we'll
exactly.
eventually
Yeah,
run out of
Yeah.
that
that
as
will
well.
eventually run out. which is why there's always a company working on something. There's always, there's like 2 or 3 companies working on recycling lithium, and I think that, again, with Tesla's batteries, I think they're going to be pretty good, because some people have reviewed the first gen Tesla Model S's, which were released in 2013, and they found that even after however many years, 8 years I think it's been now since those cars are 8 years old, they can still hold roughly 80% of their original charge, which is pretty good, considering how many miles those cars would have had, thousands and tens of thousands, and years of use in different hot and cold climates. I don't think that's bad going, because I mean, if you use a phone after 2 years, the battery is pretty crap. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I'm waiting for though is hydrogen, because that's just going to be.
That's another good thing, is it? Because my dad thinks that, I mean, electric cars will catch on a bit, but hydrogen will quickly take over, because hydrogen is free. It doesn't cost anything. You can literally make hydrogen with a chemistry set, So
yeah, the water engine has already existed for like thousands of years now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Which means lithium won't be in massively high demand, because you just fill up a tank of hydrogen. Yeah, but there's only 8 hydrogen stations, so right at the moment you're pretty screwed as a hydrogen car user. Whereas, most places have an electric car.
I don't think there are a lot of hydrogen cars, really.
No.
Not really. Toyota's the only main brand that's jumped on it, I think, because they were quite early with electric cars themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, it's also just about the you need a different engine, like not engine bit, something entirely. Also, it's how do you get it working? How do you get it efficient?
Yeah, that is true. And the other thing about hydrogen, it's incredibly dangerous, because we all know about the Hindenburg massive airship that ran on hydrogen and exploded. So,
but that happened to like SpaceX as well.
It did, yeah. So I wonder how they'll make it a safer thing to use.
Because they're burning it though. Oh no, wouldn't you just be burning hydrogen? Or?
Maybe, but I don't know how you'd keep it. Like, say you got into a car accident and the hydrogen tank was punctured. How would they make it safe from it just exploding? I wonder what does Toyota do if you get into a car accident in a hydrogen car? Because you don't want it exploding.
No, but then you've got the same risk as like a like petrol or diesel car. That's the same thing. I'll just stop them from blowing up.
Maybe, but diesel's really hard to ignite. Have you seen people try to just light pure diesel's incredibly hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Petrol is easier. In fact, it's much easier. But I don't know. Hydrogen is just so much faster. It's just boom, like an actual explosion, whereas petrol would just sort of catch on fire and spread.
Blowing up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know how they would combat that, to be honest.
No, the thing is, so something it's just going to be almost like displacement, where you just put water in and fire some electricity through it, hydrogen comes out, then water comes out. That's what you're saying about like the water steam engine, I think. There's talks of that as well as actual like hydrogen.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know whether to predict whether they'll catch on or not, hydrogen cars.
I think they will eventually.
Maybe eventually, yeah. When electricity becomes more expensive because more people have electric cars, and or if it becomes in higher demand, and we don't have enough electricity, we can't make it fast enough, then maybe
or just
cars will catch on. But again, they need to drop in value. Really, they're far too expensive.
Yeah, or just the hydrogen technology becomes, they have a major breakthrough with it, in which they can easily put it in engines. Then other car companies can just, and once other car companies see that it's catching on, and this next is becoming a big thing, they'll then want to copy it to make themselves some money, and then you'll start thinking all around that way.
Yeah.
Have you got any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I'll stick to conventional cars.
Jake?
Yeah, same. I think my dad always says, the next one's going to be electric, but I don't think so. Not yet. I reckon we'll have one more petrol car for another 10 years before we eventually switch to electric. It's going to be a while.
I'll just make do with what we have at the moment, and the best thing we have is conventional cars. Mainly a cost. Also, there's not really many places to charge up. You and I don't really want to be groped into a business which people making business are something that's meant to help.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Alright, so that wraps it up for this podcast then. If you enjoyed, hit like and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Somerset Productions, Goby Gaming and Gaming Parts, all of which will be linked into the description and put on the end screen as well. So thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you guys.
And we'll catch you all later. Bye.
Let's go!